Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. We have Rafael Conquista back. We skipped a week because I was traveling and doing other stuff. So good to have you back again, Rafael.
Great to be with you again. How was your trip?
That was very good. Very good.
Awesome. Sorry I
Yes.
missed it.
It's the first time I really spent any time in Utah, and really nice state.
Yeah.
Really good people. Good.
Yeah.
Everything's clean there. I never saw one chemtrail in the 3 days we were there. Not one.
No way.
And they have done away with what do they put in the water? The
Fluoride?
yeah, they did away with fluoride. They voted it out. How about that?
Imagine
Wow.
that.
Yeah.
Wow.
No chemtrails, no
No.
fluoride. Psh, crazy.
That's incredible. Utah might be a good place to go to.
Yeah, unless Yellowstone blows up and then you'll evaporate.
Now, Utah was in they still have some like childbirth difficulties, and because Utah used to be downwind from the Nevada testing ground for nuclear weapons.
Oh, wow.
They still have like radiation in their soil, but
No kidding.
yeah. I've seen a lot of talked to a lot of parents with like young children with cancers and stuff like that, or pregnant women who lost their, kind of like aborted their babies spontaneously because radiation is higher in certain places of Utah. My brother lived in Cedar for a long time, and it was a beautiful place. But that was one of the things about Cedar was this higher levels of radiation, even in the groundwater. So, but I'm glad to hear they're working at it. Did Utah pass like some legislation to banning chemtrails? Or
I don't know. I don't know if they did. I don't know if it was one of the states that did. I know a lot of states, push that.
Yeah.
Let me check real quick. So another thing we're going to cover is new COVID variant NB.1.8.1 detected by Stanford as U.S. limits vaccines. So U.S. limits vaccines. Now we know RFK Jr. Just came out with they're going to limit vaccines for healthy babies and pregnant women. Keyword healthy. All right. So we know, and I just had a show with a group of doctors, the Healing for the Ages doctors. They all came out with and you have said this, you are not supposed to vaccinate someone that is not healthy. So why are they saying that it's not going to be for healthy people? And what determines who is healthy and who is not? And why would you say that if you already know that unhealthy people aren't supposed to be vaccinated? What's going on here?
Yeah, good questions. The vaccine industry is so embedded I don't want to, I really do want to sidetrack and go back to that Supreme Court thing we talked about a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. Go do that. Yeah.
So it's so embedded. Okay. Thank you. So when RFK announced that the Supreme Court members, all federal court judges, state court judges, all the judiciary had appointed to each of them one up to 3 lobbyists per judge, it just blew my mind. As we missed last week, and I've been thinking about it for a couple of weeks, like that is just so mind-blowing, Michael, that these guys, the entire time, we never knew, none of us knew. We had suspicions about because how they voted on these different vaccines and stuff, but that judges actually have their own appointed lobbyists to give them money, give them perks, give them all kinds of stuff. To what? What does that do? That's like the most egregious type of conflict of interest you could ever imagine. And I thought about it at a larger scale. So how many of these guys are running around to different kings and leaders of the earth doing the same thing? It's global. And so I don't see any way around it other than like lighting a match and, throwing some stuff on it to get it to burn down, because I can't see these guys changing. And I think, I like to think that RFK is a good-hearted guy. I like the guy. He's got so many great things that he's said, but frankly, he could be constricted by, you can say this much, and if you say more, you're dead. I don't know. I don't know the degree of how, this is amazing. Just the judiciary alone is like one of the largest, I think, explosive revelations in probably American history, that the entire judiciary, all the lawyers, that means all the bar associations, everything is corrupted just with the pharmaceutical lobby.
Mm.
So,
Wow.
so it sort of undresses, so to speak. It lifts the skirt up over the head of the entire apparatus. That how can we? There's just not a chance. And you and I've been pointing this out, like you just pointed out, for forever, that the corruption is so deep that how can we even rely on any vaccine information? And we've talked about before, here comes another one, a new like COVID variant. So we've talked about how if it's new, it has to be lab created. So if it's a new variant, it's getting distributed through some vaccine somewhere, whether it's in the States or somewhere else. There you go. USC's cases of new COVID variant. So whenever it's new and it's a variant, that is the signal. New and variant is a signal for biological release. Because the only way, like here's the picture, the only possible way that could happen is in a laboratory. And so that's exactly what's happening. It's being released via vaccine vehicle again by same guys. Fauci may be out of the picture, but my goodness, it's embedded everywhere. So I think
it's exploding in a lot of like in China and Hong Kong, high number of cases. I think I saw something about Thailand too. So a lot of Singapore. So a lot of places overseas are already starting to experience it. Singapore, big numbers in Singapore. Now, just go back just real quick. The chemtrails conspiracy theory lands in Utah legislature. So,
okay.
So that was back in January. Bill to ban chemical release in Utah skies, making the rounds, whatever. So it doesn't say whether they pass a legislature to stop it. I don't see it anywhere, but it looks like they had it up for vote. But maybe it's been restricted in Google search. So it sounds like they did push. They went in that direction, so that's good.
Yeah, I hope maybe they're even, passing bills. But like you pointed out before, okay, you got paper, and then who's going to enforce it? So we'll see how that goes. But it's awesome to hear there's no chemtrails while you were there. That's significant because like here, like really since the election, and significantly, just again the last couple of weeks, the chemtrails are unbelievable. Like we have a blue sky. We don't have blue sky at all anymore, but if we had a blue sky in the morning, by evening, it's the entire sky is painted on clouds. And for the conspiracy theorists, what, don't you believe in painted on clouds, skid mark clouds, triple X rated clouds, circle clouds? Oh, it's just amazing.
Yeah. So looks like they're spreading it pretty quick. Under the radar, but it is in if you do a Google search, AI comes up with here's an AI overview. It appears you're asking about the current COVID-19 situation, potentially new strains emerging overseas. There's a breakdown of what's known. New Omicron subvariant, we just talked about the MBs, is rapidly spreading in parts of Asia and has been detected in the U.S. So here's the places: China, Japan, Vietnam, South Korea, Taiwan, Thailand, France, the Netherlands, and Spain, and then several U.S. states, California, of course, Washington, Ohio, Rhode Island, and Hawaii. So which state will be the one? Last time, it was Washington where it blew up, Seattle, Sleepless in Seattle, and with Tom Hanks. And Tom Hanks was like captured trying to escape down in Australia. So for some pedo stuff. So He
Right.
didn't get away. He didn't get away. So he was obviously in a U.S. He looked like he was in a regular room, but that was a U.S. Bunker type thing. So they got him. And
Good.
so what's going to happen this time? What do you think? What are they going to do? Is the Trump administration going to go with another warp speed? What's going to happen?
I almost think they have to. It's sort of like deja vu. This is how they've been running it all along. And I guess there's still too many of us that haven't gotten the jab, and they want to weaken this country, I believe, before the invasion. But they're doing a good job of it. As a matter of fact, like I think there was a guy who just recently testified before Congress. I think his name was Dr. Thor, and he pointed out all the lies in the British Medical Journal and all the lies in like the American mainstream and stuff. And what he showed Congress was that this is mind blowing, you guys, that he said that the COVID shot to pregnant women had the same statistical abortion rates as the abortion drug RU486. It was like an 80 to 85% abortion rate among women who got the COVID shot. Incredible. So that is such a great revelation that there's this. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because it's unbelievable. And how long have you been talking about this war against us? And it's like really right up in our face. And I'm not sure. I still think Trump's such a big target for this deep state Edomite crowd that could end up being on the table. Matter of fact, I don't know. I hate to keep diverging, but so I'll just try to put it in my memory banks about, like Comey. But yeah, this shot, they're going to try to push it again at the American medical costs every year, like 4.5 trillion. We pointed this out before, where 4.5 times the military budget. Trump just boasted the largest military budget in American history, like 1.2 trillion, something incredible.
Yep.
Anyway, so the pharmaceutical industry, just in American medical costs, nothing overseas, is like at 4.5 trillion a year. So I just don't see it as being stoppable, short of a hypersonic missile. These guys, I want to cry out to the judges and the pharmaceutical guys. You don't get it. You got to fix what you've done wrong, because your lunch is over. You might be getting away with it for a few more breaths, but your lunch is over. And that's not a threat from me, but it's like, the Russians and Chinese are freaking tired of this garbage. So,
yeah. So here it's the heat. Somebody just commented on it. The heat is really strangely hot. It's not like normal hot. It's like something else.
Yeah.
Here in Florida, It's like something else. It's really weird. And a lot of people are commenting on it.
Is it like a temperature thing?
Yeah, temperature hot. Yeah, because we had a pretty extended period where I think there's some places here in the U.S. in the north that have not seen spring yet, and it's almost summer, and it looks like we have a super push down from the Antarctic, which is basically Arctic, which is basically going to cause even more cold in a lot of places. And then of course there's when the Arctic pushes down, then there's a little push somewhere else. So some places will get hotter than usual, and other places are going to be colder than usual. So it's really some serious manipulation going on there with the temperatures. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like they're really getting ready to hurricane us up early this year, unfortunately. Yeah.
So you guys but you're probably going to be sort of scooting on out of there pretty soon, aren't you?
That's the intent.
Thinking about you. Run, get out of there.
Run away. Yep.
You don't want another hurricane.
It's not a normal rabbit. Yeah. So the hurricane season I think is going to be pretty vicious this year.
we had, I think you're right, probably worse, maybe worse than ever.
Yeah.
Which is incredible because how does it get worse? Last year, you guys had one that came through and just ripped up all up north of you and everything. Just what was it? The Carolinas?
It's like
Just
one after another, after another, after another, all around in the Gulf. Texas dodged a big bullet. They were going to get Cat 5, and it never built up. They were lucky. Everybody was praying on it. Everybody got involved. So I called it early. I said that hurricane is not going to Mexico. It's going to Houston. And everybody's like, oh no. And then it's like it went, and everybody's like, oh my God, it is coming to Houston. So everybody was ready for it. The one that went off the coast here, it was over 100 miles away. It caused damage like it came ashore. It was insane. It was insane. I like horrible damage. Like tides that were like 4.5 feet above normal. What hurricane 110 miles away does that? None. So
right.
there's definitely a lot of manipulation. Of course, that hurricane went up and caused incredible damage, 1,000-year flooding up in North Carolina. That's what they call it, 1,000 years. So they went back 1,000 years. So, yep, 1,000 years ago they had flooding like this. Yeah, whatever. So
yeah,
it's probably never.
Yeah, just ask CPS; they would know. Just ask, Biden.
Yeah, they've been around that long. They have records.
Yeah, they've got video 1,000 years ago. More on it. I know.
Wow, that's amazing. You guys went back that far. Why couldn't you predict that it would actually go up there and do that damage to begin with? That's good.
So you had mentioned something, because it's gonna fall out of my mind, but you had mentioned before the show about this new COVID variant that I think you said it was found at Stanford so far. Is that right? So
yeah,
I'm fascinated about that because we talked about it. I think it's been a year and a half. We talked about Stanford, where Stanford originally, when they rolled out the COVID BS, Stanford was the first who said, hey, we've tested, I think it was like 1,800 patients who PCR tested positive with the fake test. So Stanford did lab work on all of them and said, we can't find anything. What are you talking about? So Stanford, it was kind of blacked out. So Stanford asked the CDC, we're not sure what to look for. Are you guys hearing this? We're not sure what to look for. So they went to the CDC and said, can you send us samples? And the CDC said, we don't have any. Nobody had it. We've talked about this because it doesn't exist. Oh, we'll send you a computer image because we've created that, but we've generated that. So we have all these pictures now. You can just Google all, what it looks like, and it's all computer generated images. Okay, but the point is, so Stanford did laboratory analysis of these 1,800 patients, and they couldn't find one virus. Huge. So much for the new COVID variant. All it is a new shot, or they're managing how they're handling bacterial cases. That's we've talked about this over and over ad nauseum. That would be pneumonia or even TB. What was that?
Oh, so, Tracy's like, I don't run away. I have the ability to cognitive. She's in the future. We do that. When an event is going to occur, and then I notify people, which we've been doing, and then I move myself ahead. I don't run away. That's silly. I activate. I mean, I was just being silly saying run away. But yeah, we don't run away. We basically tell everybody, and it's time to move along smartly. But it's up to you. We're letting you trust your own intuition, what you're going to do.
Right. I know that's big boy, because I I want to hold everybody's hand, but I love that about you. You're going to be responsible for yourselves. And, part of that is we've talked about how to do it in the store. We've got anti-infective protocols in place, and it's just going to be a repetitive pattern. They're going to do it over and over because, like you pointed out in the past, they get their foot in the door and it's worked. why would they change it? So that's what we see.
Yep.
And it really, like, imagine if we had just, if everybody listened to your show and turned off the mainstream, imagine that. That by itself would just shut this entire thing down. Right. So that's really what we need to do. We still have this amazing power. It feels very helpless, but I love what, Tracy Joe just pointed out. It feels helpless, but now we're in control of us. They're not. And we still have that ability to say no and take care of ourselves and our loved ones. We have a beautiful intuition. We can do that. So let's continue.
Absolutely. And what will the real Joe Biden please sit down? What do you got to pee?
Will the real Joe Biden please sit down to pee? He doesn't have a choice now. And I can't say that I'm sad, and I can't even say that it's the real Joe Biden. But, we've talked about this, where, a pretending president. And so we watched, and we've talked about this for each one, where we watched him kept getting the jabs. And then because of the quantum forensics, we tested each one of them, and he was getting the real McCoy. It wasn't like, I mean, this is brain damage. What about saline or, something else? But no, he was getting the real thing, you guys. And so we would have to bring, when we test, we would have to bring these super nutrient anti-infectives from the store into the field as we tested imagery or photonic measuring of his photographs of him getting the shot. And it was always just loaded with infection, something in the tune of like a bottle of the Intuostat every day. That's how infected that shot was. So obviously the shot was creating the next new variant. But he's a victim of these super cancers now, right? He's got stage 4 prostate cancer, and it saddens me with people that I love that are just have believed the lie, but somebody's promoting the lie. Hey, take it and get buried with it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And we've talked about it. This show that I just did with a bunch of doctors, they said that 81% of people that were vaccinated are basically spreading it. So that's unfortunate. They're shedding. They're shedding, spreading it. Yep. Shedding they're creating variants within their bodies, unfortunately, unless they cleanse like you have in the store. We have it in the store, where you can pull the toxin out of your body, right. And you have the video for that. So we have the video in the description box, guys. So you can click on that. If you scroll down into the video, it says detox your vaccines with oral infections. Yep. And videos and links below, detox all food. So you can do that. It's very simple to do that. I use that all the time. I use it all the time. Yeah. Take baths in it. So pulling stuff out of my body. Yeah. Detox.
Yeah, that's a good point. You really can. You can use the oceans and the ultra cleanse clay to take a bath in it. Yeah. Really awesome. And it'll purify the water for your bath. But gosh, I think from the beginning, we've talked about this, that the shot is the spread. It's the shedding. And last year, gosh, has it been a year and a half or so, 2 years since we rolled out the Texas, when we went to the Texas manufacturing? Yeah. And I got a chance to test all the staff. And a lot of these people, none of them got the shots. Some of them had a little illness. I got to test the entire staff, the upper staff, and they all had the infection. They all had COVID. And wow. it was all of them. And they were in shock. They were like, I can't believe it. I don't feel anything. No, because it attaches, and there it is. And because it's in the form, and how many times have we used this term? It's in the form of bacterial biofilms.
Biofilm, yep.
And
it's shielded.
Yeah, it's very, very protected. Matter of fact, it loves it. the genome of the biofilm, now they know that it 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 comes together and shares protection with parasites and with super toxins. They call virus no such thing. It's another super toxin or a mild toxin, whatever. That's a virus. It's a once living particle that's extremely small. But the biofilm shares traffic and information, genomic information, with all of these things, the bacteria, the different strains of bacteria, the parasites, different forms, and the toxins. And then it loves radiation, and it loves the EMF poisoning because it can't mobilize oxygenation. It can't mobilize immunity to those sites. So when you get a shot, it's there forever. It has to come out. If you can't, you might even improve in your health, but it's still it still has a biofilm. So the shot has to come out. So that's why we're doing that, you guys. So, they're right. It's a spreading of disease. And I probably, before I knew the depth of corrupt evil that this shot was about, and I was trying to help people hands-on. We were doing the mud pack detox on people's arms, and some folks that had like the 3-4 jabs, it would take 40 and 50 packs. So
Jeez.
They would have to, and so I was exposed to all this because some of it outgasses. They
Sure.
walk in, they're shedding and all this stuff. So I was,
Man, you were getting hammered. Wow.
Unreal, Michael. It was like I was taking so much nutrition. It was unbelievable.
So shield yourself, and still it was like pushing through. Because I mean, you're like in a swamp trying to trying to be healthy. You're like immersed in it. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really hard. Someday in the future, I'll tell you my whole story, because it was like,
Okay.
it's just brutal. It's just brutal. And, it started rearing its really ugly head a little bit later, even though I was testing clear, or what we call coherent.
Yeah.
So I was overcoming. But man, the immune system after a while was just getting tired. And so I was just getting sick every time they chemtrail sprayed and all that stuff. I was getting sick all the time until recently we finally turned it around. But incredible. Just unbelievable.
Yeah, you were testing for radiation, Fukushima radiation, which is still impacting California coast, and probably all up and down the Pacific coast.
Yeah, probably the northern hemisphere largely, but
wow.
Yeah, the farther in you get, like along the coast, it's pretty devastating. We're still running. I think I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but we had a little rain a couple of weeks ago. I think I tested it at about 32 CPM counts per minute, which is, of course, the EPA says don't worry about it, but they say 6-7 CPM is an EPA cleanup site for radiation, so don't worry about it. Say the guys who want to kill you. But I think that's definitely the magnitude of a variety of attacking agents is so profound that it's hard for us to comprehend this level of evil to be able to be unleashed upon us. But that's really what it is, because I've perhaps when we first started, I was first blessed to be on your show, where we talked about Fukushima, and I was pointing out that nobody's that stupid. Like a third grade class could run the cleanup better than what they did. It was a purposeful, ongoing release into the Pacific, and the northern hemisphere, and it weakens our immunity probably for this time of this biowarfare attack that we're seeing coming from the beasts of the earth, as Scripture calls them. Yeah. So, yeah,
It's crazy. Yeah. So, we have a pretty good watch right now. It's just right at just popped to 386 people watching. A lot of people are giving it the thumbs up. So good information. So I love to see this stuff, a lot of eyes on this stuff, because this is the stuff that's going to help us survive. There's not a lot of people I don't think are going to survive going forward.
I hate to hear that. Yeah.
There's been a lot of people that have predicted, and not just psychics, but they came out with this one study, I guess, where they predicted that there would be a massive downsizing of the population of Earth.
Yeah.
This year. So
starting this year. Yeah.
Yep. Starting. No, it's been ongoing, but this year is supposed to be it's supposed to reach epic proportions. So
yeah.
I don't know what's going to kick that. This new variant coming in. So what do you think if there's a new variant that's probably more toxic? What do you think that we need to do to keep ourselves? Deagle report, yeah. So the Deagle report basically showed that.
Yeah.
So what do you think we need to do to protect ourselves?
Well, thanks for bringing that up, and I cringe about it too. I don't know that there's going to be anything new. I don't think, from what I kind of believe about the scriptures, I don't see that there's going to be anything new. And so I think we'll be able to get a handle on it with the super nutrients that we have. But if there's something new, I want to have that, to be able to publish that to people, because I'm watching it all the time. And as soon as I see images of supposedly something new, we'll be able to publish that. But, and that's really a beautiful thing. And it's really, it's really helpful for our comfort and our confidence, because what you're saying is really, I really believe you're spot on. So most of it's in the store, and I'm still designing some other super anti-infectives for you guys to be able to have access to. The problem I see, Michael, is that China's we're already seeing in my clinic that the drugs coming out of China, 98% of them are also carrying infection and other virus and other toxins and parasites into your pharmaceuticals. So this is part of the attack.
I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
Of course they would do that. Oh, look, we got a black crow just showed up when we talked about that. So it is.
Damn.
It's that would make sense, because we're kind of at war with China, with the what's going on with President Trump and the trying to cut them out and take away their manufacturing and so forth. So we know we have, like, somebody was telling me, we have like tens of thousands of Chinese military aged men that have infiltrated into the United States. So, and I know they're like huge up in Canada. Canada's been like harboring them really bad up there, and so has Mexico. So like we're surrounded, and they're like sending in bioweapon stuff into us. So that would totally make sense. Wow.
Right. Be
careful with your pharmaceutical. If you can get away from pharmaceuticals, guys, you need to be off of them completely. So do the best you can to cleanse, and the LifeWay product has helped a lot of people get off pharmaceuticals. So, and they're not pharma anymore; they're bioweapon laboratories.
Thank you.
Yes, biotechnology.
Yeah, it's now just obvious to us. It's in our face that we've been the victims of attack for a long time, and we're entering into the crescendo, the high point of this. Probably, like you just said, this year. But we've seen, parasites where people get acute, like they're on antidepressants, and they come see it. They go like, I got this massive UTI as soon as I started taking my antidepressants, or I started having like uncontrollable, bowel, sort of explosive diarrhea, all from the pharmaceuticals that had parasites in them, had bacteria infections in them. And the same thing is true with the vaccines. Now, the predominant amount, the bulk amount of people, because it's in the form of a biofilm, and a biofilm is very subtle. So you wouldn't think that it's an attack on you because it doesn't become acute. You don't get sick. You're just kind of, okay. But it's in your lung, or it's in your UTI or kidney or whatever, or your prostate, like, Joe Biden's experience. That can be from an oral drug or from a vaccine. Because in my experience and in my research, what they're doing is they're taking different forms of infection, always different forms, so that tracking and tracing them would be really difficult. So different forms of parasites, different forms of biofilm, like a pneumonia or a TB or other kinds of infection, E. coli or whatever. And then they culture, like a child, for example, a fetal adrenal tissue or a fetal kidney tissue or a fetal urine or bladder or lung. So then they mix the toxin and the bacteria with this type of tissue, and then the body, that's where it targets. So they know how to target infection the same way we know how to target nutrients to an infection. We use the same technology by using resonance of, for example, resonance of a prostate. And they use resonance of a prostate on a fetal tissue with infection or a toxin to get what? You get sick later. And we use the same technology, I think more advanced, to deliver nutrients to a targeted area like a kidney or a prostate or a lung or things like that. Because what we've done in our science from Dr. Fritz Popp, who, when he discovered that our DNA was 98% biophoton, what he did was he set out, and I know I'm diversing, but I think this is so beautiful. I just want to talk about it. That he set out to understand more what the photonic frequencies were for each tissue. And so his work was just unreal, landmark, just very beautiful. So then what we did was we went out and found nutrient photons that had the same resonating frequency for any body tissue, eyeballs, lungs, prostate, or whatever. And so then we could target an anti-infective into that same area by the same techniques that they're using to target bioweapons in us. So I think it's like unreal. We have like this, we can meet them where they're attacking us with the same kind of artillery, maybe even better, because we're able to nourish ourselves every day over and over and over again. And they're trying to get to us through chem sprays and pharmaceuticals and stuff like that. And now that we know, we can really protect ourselves. So,
yeah, and they're trying to take out all the people that are trying to help us, with good foods and so forth. Naturopath Dr. Robert Young, I don't know if they convicted him today, but he was in San Diego, which is very, very compromised judicially, San Diego County. So he's naturopath, teach people how to overcome cancers and all kind of stuff with just diet. Just have this diet. And I've had a lot of these people on my shows. And the guys today, the doctors today were like, yeah, they target us because we're helping people. And he helped thousands and thousands of people. Yes. But they'll find a way to like get you out of there because it's they're gonna California lockdowns coming. You think so? So you think California lockdowns are coming?
Yeah, but
wow. Yeah. You got Gavin Newsom. He was a lockdown king last time. So that's why they kept him there. So that makes sense.
I hope that a percentage of people now are smart enough to go, lockdown what? We're not doing anything. I'm not doing anything. But yeah, you're right. RO, we've talked about him a little bit off and on. This is a beautiful soul, man. He's like trying to help people and he gets yanked. Matter of fact, his one of his like sort of super products that he was promoting about the whole COVID shot and detox was one that we actually have in the store in a little different form. And that's our Intuitive Ultra Cleanse Clay. That is with the zeolites and the freshwater based calcium ion clays, that the detoxification is profound for all full spectrum, anything toxic, viral, chemical. He was even talking about graphene. So he's just an amazing guy. I love that guy, and I'm just horrified to see what happened to him. But that's what's been happening to us really for a couple centuries now, if not longer. Maybe, guys, maybe all the way back to the garden, because this seed line war is bitter. But that's why Michael has this show. That's all I can say about that, because it's like we have to like be defended by ourselves and each other, and who better than a Navy SEAL? So yeah, it's huge.
All we can do really right now is I can't, beat all these guys up. There's too many of them. The only way we can defeat them is bring out truth and expose them. And then people look at them and it's like, we're not going to do that. So many people say, and I see it in the chat, do not comply. But look how long California was locked down last time, and how many people did comply.
Right.
That's why I got out of there. It was ridiculous. And then even here in Florida, they still had health officials saying that even though we're not going to lock everybody down, you don't have to wear a mask if you don't want to. If you're in the food service business, you do have to wear a mask. So they made the food service people wear masks when everybody else didn't have to. So they still had a level of control. So we have to take down these criminals that are in the health business that are coming after us, trying to kill us.
Yes.
And take away our God-given human rights to choose, right? Yeah. So it's coming back again. We'll get Plandemic 2.0. We'll see how we do with it this time, because we didn't learn last time, obviously.
I hope we did. I know there's a lot of, I remember with the first one, even the technology of this quantum forensics, this beautiful biophotonic test is just, it's off the charts. So I felt like, oh, this is cool, because as soon as I see it, I'll know it. And I never saw it. I just saw, I did see like what I described many times as a mycoplasma from the chemtrailing, which is a kind of an inert bacterial form, almost like a prion, if you will. You guys have probably heard of Gulf War syndrome. That's kind of the illness that I saw in people. And it was a gateway for worse cases of pneumonia or worse cases of cardiovascular stuff. So that caused people to get afraid and run out and, get the shot or run to the hospital and get intubated and get killed. But I don't see the same level. I mean, how long just hundreds of thousands of people have seen just your show alone, and how many people are talking about this. So I think it's going to be significantly different. And I think they're going to want to roll out the Ebola-like thing. And Gates and I think it was Senator Rand Paul that talked about this at a recent Senate hearing with RFK, where he said that the DHS was caught with Ebola in one of their level 4 labs, which is like this is TB on steroids. And so it's highly transmissible. And that would be my guess, because they already telegraphed that with Gates saying, what about aerosolized Ebola? And so that would be my guess. But if you're super well nourished, in my experience, even with Ebola, I want to diverge back to COVID again. Remember the images that they showed of people like bleeding out their nose and eyes and ears and stuff like that? Some of them from Africa, some of them in hospitals from different places. So I got a chance to test all of those, and I'm telling you, half of them or more were movie scenes that looked really real. But when I tested them, I was just going, no, they're not sick at all. The ones in Africa, some of them had bled out with Ebola-like symptoms, And that was from a vaccine. I'm telling you, you don't get that sick that fast unless you're immediately shed on and then you progress with an Ebola-like symptom. I want to just clarify, it's because it's really important. If they say Ebola, I think TB, because that we've been down that road and we have history about that. So we have 1918, which was the big Spanish flu, which in my opinion was TB, and that came through a vaccine too. So the pattern's there. They're not going to do anything different. They only know how to do one thing, and that's lie and hand out shots. And now, of course, they're spraying on us to weaken our respiratory cardiovascular system. So we just have to learn how to stay strong, Lord willing. And as it progresses, we'll be able to release that information, what nutrients and what anti-infectives to be able to help yourself overcome it. Because with Ebola and what they call Ebola virus, and that's a whole nother lie story we could talk about in the future. It's just a vaccine program with TB biofilm or acute TB bacteria. The difference being the bacteria in the biofilm are sort of quieted down like they're in their camper. The biofilm would be the camper or the shield, whereas a active TB bacteria would be go reproduce really quick right away in your lungs or in your bloodstream or wherever it's going to go. Oh, there you go. There you go. Vaccine trial. For that's it right there. Thank you. So there's your outbreak right there, you guys.
Well, somebody had it in the chat, and then I went and looked. So thanks to the person that put it in the chat.
Yeah.
But yeah, April 16th, Washington, D.C., April 16th, Sabian Vaccine Institute has launched a multi-phase phase 2. So first participants in Melbourne, Florida. All right. Another reason I'm glad I'm getting out of here. But that's, of course, they would do that in a red state. All right.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Wow. Thanks for bringing that up, you guys. That's awesome. I mean, that's not.
Yeah, those were all red states are doing that. They're testing, trialing, and so.
Yeah. So back, just thinking about the judges that are all being paid by, or that have 1 to 3 lobbyists, i.e. controllers that are paying them. And I still have locked in my mind about this vivid scene. It bears me repeating again, if you don't mind, that at the moment the California pretend legislature was pretending to hold this session on voting for SB 277, that was the mandatory vaccine law for all California school kids to enter school. They had to be up to date on all their shots. There was in the hearing room for the Senate, it was packed. It was like 300 people, standing room only, and every one of those people, at least as they had time, 100% of the people of California said no, 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 for hours. And the little pretend senator that was running the hearing said to Senator Pan, the god Pan, and he was by himself. It's sort of like the defendant's table, and there were 2 lobbyists sitting behind him. And after the entire crowd said no, 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 no for a couple hours, nobody was there to say, yeah, we want vaccines. That's great. Nobody. So then what happened was the gal who's running the hearing, the senator running the hearing, said, I think we should postpone the vote for another time because the opposition to having mandatory vaccines was so large. And Senator Pan turned around to the 2 lobbyists that were with him, and they just told him, no, you're going to do the vote now, and they're going to pass it. So the corruption is so unbelievable. So that every law, every code is compromised by this level of corruption, which makes it all void, you guys. Everything that every judge from here on out rules on, it's void because of that corrupt influence. You can't ever get any fair trials anymore. So the case is all void, which means You don't have to run out and beg another judge to unvoid it. It has no effect, period. And I'd want to, I want to like run out to Dr. Young and say, hey, you guys got to look at your case again and look at the corruption and stuff like that, the influence of the pharma industry. And was the judge and all the prosecution paid off somehow? Unreal. It's like,
they were definitely, absolutely, they were paid off. There's no question in my mind. They're paying all these corrupt judges, and they're starting to expose that. And we're talking like lots of millions, tens of millions of dollars to push these cases. And district attorneys, there's a lot of payoff going on still. So the pharmaceutical industry is obviously going to get more with this next round. I said it was coming. I was hoping it wouldn't come, but it does seem to be. Now the WHO has been given adopts historic pandemic agreement to make the world more equitable and safer from future pandemics.
Yeah, so we're creating the vaccines, distributing them, and we're going to keep you safe from them, which is simple control. So what apparently the pretenders around the world, they pretended to give the WHO authority over all the planet when it comes to pandemics and medical related issues. So you can see the writing on the wall that this is what they want to do. This is their goal, and it's all under the concept of your safety, and it's just unbelievable. Yeah. So that's what's coming, and I hate it, but that's what I see coming too. The plague first. And then how I see it rolling out, Michael, is wow, there it is. They've been working on that for a long time, maybe from its inception. That's what the design of the WHO from the beginning was, for this moment in history, for this moment in time. All about safety and your safe and security while they're distributing all of these super bugs. Perfect.
Yeah, I've been trying to find if the United States signed off on that, but it says that all member states approve.
Yeah. So what happened was Trump bowed out, but the contract is still till like end of 26, even though he said we're done, but they still under this same contract. So they can't formally come out until that contract expires in like late 26, which, as you pointed out at the beginning of the show, it's too late. So it's except it's not
124 in favor, 0 objections, and 11 abstentions. So I wonder if the United States was an abstention. Who were the abstentions? We'll have to look deeper into that. So that is, like you said, probably the United States. I know President Trump was not in favor of any of that. He said that very early on.
Right.
But the Biden administration was pushing it. So it was kind of like up in the air. They were waiting to see if Biden would, or Kamala, I guess, would actually win the election. And when she didn't, then they're like, oh, no. So,
yeah.
We're not going to get it. We're not going to have the whole world in on this. So, yeah, it's very, very sad.
And the writing on the wall also is that you guys who don't participate and you guys who didn't get the shot are causing everyone else to be at risk. So
that was insane. They put that out.
Yeah.
So and now we need to revisit that, because all the people that said that and they said you shouldn't be able to go to the hospital because you won't get vaccinated. Yeah. How many people were refused entrance to the hospital? I wonder, because of that bullshit, and died from that. So, and then we find out the people that got the vaccination were the ones that are most sick.
Right. So I'd just like to, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just saying, I said, damn it. So.
I know it. So back just before I don't want to leave without kind of talking a little bit about Biden, but not necessarily Biden, but because prostate cancer is such a massive thing in the male population, and you can take Biden's problem that he has these turbo cancers after the fourth jab. They really exploded after he got the fourth jab. That one of the things we have not done as men, and really as a society of God's kids, is we haven't looked, we haven't tracked and traced. Michael and I have pointed out so many times the Pfizer shot and all its 1,200 new diseases. We've talked about the MMR2 shot, the measles, mumps, rubella shot, and all of its diseases that they don't track and trace. So one of the consequences that we've failed to track and trace for our entire lifetime, my lifetime, my parents' lifetime, is what are the exact consequences that are consequences, not that the television, a politician, or a pharmaceutical guy told us were the consequences, but what are the consequences we're actually living with and living out? And that one of those things is prostate cancer, like insane. And so we're looking at the vaccines, and we've talked over and over and over about the biofilm. There you go. So I am not sure. I've asked for 20 years, what are you seeing when you tell someone they have cancer? What do you see? Hey, doc, oncology doc, what do you see? Oh, we see cancer. They've got like 1,000 different names for different kinds of cancer. And what do we see in my clinic? 1,000 different names for 1,000 different cancers that are all bacterial.
All bacterial.
All bacterial, and some parasitic. And like we talked about earlier, they share biofilm, virus, toxins, radiation, EMF. The biofilm loves it, and it's stronger than us. So over time, the destruction is what they call cancer. We're going to get into more. We're going to get into great detail on this real soon because it has to come out. Because I think the biofilm, Michael, is something that I love. All the docs, man, I'm listening to them too. I'm learning from them too. But I think the black hole is this thing, this biofilm. Oh, and I think even the NIH, which I don't trust, but they say that 75% of all infections are biofilm induced. In other words, if you have a reoccurring bladder infection or lung infection or gut infection or any kind of infection, it's induced because you have a biofilm that your body can't get rid of. So we got to get rid of those. Okay. So, and that's the black hole. That to me, that's the black hole. And that's the place I've decided to camp out and make my practice on.
Nice. So in the shop, we got a few products look like they're out of stock. Maybe you can update those. Okay. So we can get. I know a lot of people are probably going to go over there after the show and pick up a bunch of stuff because we got some good specials going on. So look for the specials down in the description box, and you'll find all those. So here is the go to the michaelkjaco.com and you'll see Intuitive Wellness in the box up here. Just click that. That'll get you over to all the wellness products.
So if anybody has, I think it's special number 1. And I think all the nutrients for the specials are in the store, except maybe the collagen and microbiome are still on their way. The manufacturing couldn't get all, they ran out of sourcing on the microbiome for a little season. And I think they're just a few days out, and the collagen as well. So they've been all ordered up like several weeks ago, but because of their delays, we're still waiting for them. But I think the special number 1, which is kind of designed for bladder, prostate, UTI, because the Intuitive Ultra Life is this amazing 500 different bioflavonoids pollen with the mold spore removed. So if you tend to have bee allergies or bee product allergies, you're safe with this. And that's kind of why we did that, so that you get the benefits of like bee pollen without the risk of the mold or the heavy metals or anything like that that might be with it. So very strengthening for the bladder lining, for the entire reproductive tract, either male and female. Both of us just thrive on it. So if you have like issues with your prostate where you're getting up to pee, 5, 6, 7 times a night, that's a great one to start with, because it will help to start addressing the biofilm and also support the bladder UTI full spectrum. Very powerful anti-inflammatory. So if you have, bladder UTI struggles, start with that one. And I've got several others, like the Gut Heal protocol. That's in the store, except the microbiome and the collagen, and those will be just in a couple of days. So if you want to wait a few days when you see it back in the store, that's great. If not, we'll owe it to you.
All right. So one more thing, you brought up Tucker Carlson and is talking about war.
Yeah, Tucker.
Wars and rumors of war, an Iran war.
Yeah, so I'm going to connect that back to what you talked about, the Deagle, and what we see coming. One of the things that I see in the prophets is that, and I'll just kind of real quick synopsis, and I can show the entire thing in the future if you'd like. Matter of fact, what I think I'll do is I'll just create a slide presentation and just send it to you. You can look at it. But so Tucker's talking about, Trump saying we have a lot of power and we're not going to let Iran get nuclear weapons or any of that stuff. And now Israel's like looking like they're running on the verge. One of the things, what I'm seeing from the ancient prophets that I believe are writing about the age that we're living in, is first is the plague, then's the Middle East war, big, and then towards the end of the Middle East war, Russia and China decide to get involved, and Russia just signed a protection agreement with Iran. But in the prophets, that Russia and China decide to get involved, and then the entire BRICS, all 10 nations in the BRICS, there's more than 10, but 10 primary nations in the BRICS, are the 10 toes of the final beast empire, and those attack America. And this is what horrifies me, and also like what, but it's amazing that it's like, wow, this is thousands of years old and telling us what's going to happen, what's possibly going to happen to America. And that's the Ezekiel 38, Gog, Magog. Gog, you guys, Gog, Magog are China. And your pastor never told you that. And Meshach and Tubal are Russia. So Gog, Magog are getting dragged into war with America. And they don't want to. God said he's doing it. I don't even want to go there, but so there's the population reduction, and it's in this order, and it looks like we're in this historic period, a period that's never happened on planet Earth before, with like earth changes and weather changes and wars and rumors of wars. And one of the biggest wars in all of history looks like it's coming to America. You remember, Michael, when we talked about, I think it's been like a year and a half now, I had some patients and they said their nephew was in a tank division and they shipped him off to Poland. And before the kid left, he said, yeah, our what's the word? The masters, the commanders. Yeah. Sorry. The commanders are telling us that it's coming to America.
Wow.
So maybe next week I can share with you, just like a week ago, the general of the Air Force Base, like just probably as the crow flies, maybe 60 miles from me is Edwards Air Force Base. He just had a community meeting where he said, if China invades Taiwan, they're going to attack military bases in the United States at the same time. I forget his name, but I'll get that article for next week. So that's what I see in the prophets. And these are troubled times. Yeah.
Yep.
So like staying in the love vibration, mandatory. Loving one another, mandatory. Taking care of ourselves and one another, like mandatory.
Keeps you in the intuition, because you're outside of the love vibration. You don't have access to intuition, God source information. So yeah, you have to stay. It's tough. I know.
It is.
But you have to think love, send love. Just get comfortable with just think love. You can't think love and hate at the same time. You can't think love and fear at the same time. If you feel yourself slipping into fear or hate, just think love. All right. So it'll just cancel it. And then you'll be in that vibration. And that vibration will allow you to be intuitive, but not if you're not. Not if you're not. So you're not in the love vibration, then it's the same frequency, the strongest force in the universe, and that's God. And when you're in that vibration, you'll get insights. You ask questions, then they come to you.
Yeah.
You ask questions from fear, you will get fear-based answers from a source that you should not be connecting with. So, and that's the way that works.
Yeah.
Pretty simple, but most people can't comprehend it or abide by it. But
it's really hard sometimes, because I think about you as like, oh, he's strong, he can handle this. But here's a guy who's, been in the strongest sort of combat scenarios we could never imagine in the world, and telling us the right thing to do is to stay in the love vibration. It's the only way to go.
Yeah, I trained for war. I am still, of course, extremely adept at any type of kinetic type of activity on an unbelievable level. Even unbelievable what I was doing it. I was like, how am I doing this? And people around me were like dumbfounded how I could do that. But I was just on some kind of super secret soldier type of conditioning. But I found that love vibration was far more effective than all that. Way more effective, because I could reach out with that love energy and touch someone, and it would have an effect that if I brought armies of people, it would not have the same effect. So yeah, very, very amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing. What a good word.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
All right, everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Lots of good information. Be sure to go into the description box and, stock up on stuff. Who knows how long it'll last.
Yeah.
So with the Chinese trying to obviously, send us bad pharmaceuticals, I think, how much longer do many people have left? I don't know. It's sad to think that way, but we have to be, very cognizant and very skeptical that, because a lot of people are just thinking that within 4 months that, the Trump administration has been in office, that, decades of manipulation, control, 100 years or more of control and manipulation is going to go away like that. It's not going to happen.
Right.
So we have to be doing it for ourselves. And this is the way we do it. Keep each other informed. Get the products you believe that are going to help you through your intuition, and then stay on them and see the goodness. See the goodness happen for yourself.
I don't know about you guys too, but I think one of the things for me, the talk show thing has like exploded in the last 10 years. But I think especially now, like with this show, I don't have time, or I'd watch all of your shows, but the idea of having a community is really helpful. A lot of times I love just laying down and going into that love vibration, or doing my prayers and I'm listening to Michael or whatever. It's really cool to be able to have our access to that right now. It's really helpful, I think. So appreciate you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you coming on and sharing. It's been great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Great show. Thanks a lot.